Pulp Fiction is a 33 movie, and much of its meaning can be deciphered with the methods used in the first few videos. Before we get to the coded symbolism, let's explain the basic interpretation of the movie using a few symbols which are out in the open. The first scene takes place in a diner. During this scene, Amanda Plummer tells Tim Roth he sounds like a duck.
You know when you go on like this what you sound like?
I sound like a sensible fucking man, that's
Sound
what I sound
like
like.
a duck.
When Vincent opens the mysterious briefcase, the combination is 666, and soon after this, Jules quotes Ezekiel, one of the prophetic books of the Bible. 666 can be found in Revelation, another prophetic book of the Bible. When Butch looks for a weapon in the pawn shop, they use a distinct perspective shot to show him looking up at the sword he will eventually use. In this shot there is a car with a 33 on it. The end of the movie returns to the restaurant from the beginning. In this last scene, Jules calls Tim Roth's character Ringo for no apparent reason. So, these undisguised symbols are 33, 666, the duck, Ringo, and the Ezekiel quote. They are telling the same story we have seen in the first few videos. The movie starts and ends in the same place. In this sense, it could be seen as cyclical. This is reinforced by the name Ringo, which likely refers to the ring or cycle of the precession of the equinoxes, which is the cause of the Wheel of Zodiac Ages or the Great Year. The reason there are prophetic books of the Bible is because of this cycle, which moves humanity through seasons of the Great Year, going from the darker ages to the Golden Age and then back again. The beginning of the book of Ezekiel talks about the four beasts or the lion, eagle, ox, and man, which are the zodiac ages of Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius, which are the center signs of the four seasons of the Great Year. 666 is related to the cycle or wheel of history, because it is the length in years of one decan or 1/3 of a 2,000-year zodiac age. The golden glow coming from the briefcase may represent the Golden Age, explaining why its combination is 666. 33 is the number of vertebrae in the spine, which is the pathway of the Kundalini, which rises during the Golden Age portion of the cycle, causing mankind to blossom into a being of higher consciousness during the summertime of the Great Year. If you watched parts 2 and 3 of this series, you should know that the duck is a likely symbol of the goddess Isis, who also represents the star Sirius, the occult driver of the cycle of precession. Tim Roth is called both the Duck and Ringo, and he appears at both the start and end of the movie, because this symbolic system is all about the cycle of history caused by the sun being in a binary star system with Sirius. The Duck is Isis and Sirius, and Ringo is the ring or wheel of history. This is the basic story being told. The rest of the symbolism comes in less obvious forms, like gematria. Multiple mainstream sources have commented on the repeated use of cars, bathrooms, and Tennessee references in Pulp Fiction. The use of cars is important, and once it is pointed out it becomes rather obvious. After the duck scene in the restaurant, the famous first conversation between Vincent and Jules takes place while driving. When Vincent buys heroin, his dealer Lance wears a Speed Racer shirt and has 2 paintings of cars in his room. Vincent tells Lance a story about how his car was keyed. After shooting up, they show Vincent driving on heroin. They show Mia and Vincent pull up to Jack Rabbit Slim's. Inside the restaurant they show race cars on a track, and Mia and Vincent sit at a table built like a car. When Mia goes to the bathroom there is a race car painted on the wall. After Mia overdoses, Vincent drives her to Lance's where he crashes his car into the house. Before they arrive, more pictures of cars can be seen on Lance's walls. Bruce Willis has a long conversation in a cab with Esmeralda. Later, Bruce crashes his car into Marcellus Wallace and is then hit by another car. The Bonnie situation is about Vincent's shooting of Marvin in a car and then the cleaning of this car. When Butch shoots Vincent, there is a car poster behind him. So what is the significance of cars? At the beginning of the prophetic book of Ezekiel, which Jules quotes multiple times during the movie, it talks about the four beasts, or the lion, eagle, ox, and man. It says, as I looked at the living creatures, I saw wheels on the ground, one beside each of the four living creatures. Then it says, when the living creatures moved, the wheels moved with them. And when the living creatures were raised from the ground, the wheels also were raised. Wherever the Spirit wished to go, there the wheels went, and they were raised together with the living creatures. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Cars have four wheels and may represent a ride on the wheel of history. We have already seen the very important 33 car in the pawn shop, and there is another significant car scene. When Mr. Wolf pulls up in front of Jimmy's house, they give us a clear look at the license plate in another distinct perspective shot. Why? Because, if you add up the letters and numbers from this license plate, you get 33. For confirmation of the importance of cars, watch Gary Newman's video for the song Cars. It includes a very overt pyramid with illuminated capstone. Also, in Mo's symbolism-filled video for the song Kamikaze, which we will discuss in a later video, they show a car with 5 pointed stars on its wheels. Although we are still in an early stage regarding the understanding of cars, they appear to be another wheel of history reference, much like the Ferris wheel. A variety of things that have wheels or that one rides and appear to play this symbolic role. The work of John Hughes is highly symbolic, as we saw with Pretty in Pink, and Hughes wrote a movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The symbolism-filled movie Snowpiercer takes place on a train and includes 33 named Tilda Swinton playing a character named Mason. In Groundhog Day, a movie about cyclic time, there is a scene in which Bill Murray puts the groundhog behind the wheel. We saw 2 threes painted on the vehicles they used in Zombieland. There are also a lot of bathroom scenes in Pulp Fiction. Multiple important events take place while Vincent is in the bathroom, including his own death. This is likely because bathrooms plural equals 666. There are 3 mentions of Tennessee in the movie. Mainstream sources usually say this is because Tarantino was born in Tennessee. That could be, but when Butch is about to leave the pawn shop, they show a Tennessee license plate that says Volunteer State on it. Volunteer equals 666. When Butch interrupts his cab ride to talk to Scotty, he tells him next time I see you it will be on Tennessee time. 666 is a period of time, the number of years in one decade. Volunteer and Tennessee time might be a reference to 666 and the cycle of precession. Let's look at the 33 gematria. At the start of the movie, Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield, whose initials are JW, talk about how Vincent just got back from Amsterdam or Holland. Vincent, JW, and Holland equal 33. When they get out of the car, Vincent and Jules discuss how they should have shotguns for this job as they get their weapons out of the trunk. This is another distinct perspective shot, showing the view from inside the trunk. Trunk and shotguns equal 33. They then go into the apartment with the briefcase where Brett is eating food from a Hawaiian burger joint and drinking Sprite, and Vincent opens the 666 briefcase which says Franzen on it. Hawaii, Sprite, and Franzen equal 33. When Vincent sees Butch at the bar, he calls him Punchy, which equals 33. During the date part of the movie, Vincent wears a bolo tie, as did Ducky and Pretty in Pink. While wearing this tie, Mia tells Vincent a story about her Fox Force 5 pilot. Bolo tie, Fox, and the initials FFF all equal 666. Vincent asks Mia to tell him a joke from the show, but initially she refuses. Expectation for the joke gets built up too much. When we finally hear the joke, the punchline is ketchup. Ketchup equals 33. After Mia overdoses, they show Lance eating a cereal called Fruit Brute, and before Vincent gives Mia a shot of adrenaline to the heart, he asks Jody for a felt pen or magic marker. Brute, felt pen, and magic all equal 33. The Gold Watch part of the movie features Christopher Walken, Esmeralda, and a telephone call to Scotty. In the pawn shop, Butch calls Marcellus Wallace Big Boy and later searches through a bunch of weapons, one of which is a chainsaw. Walken, Esmeralda, Scotty, Big Boy, weapons, and chainsaw all equal 33. The weapons sequence is reminiscent of the Zombieland cover, which shows its characters holding a variety of 33 weapons. The front of the pawn shop says buy, sell, and trade, and there is an Indian statue. Buy and trade equal 33, and Indian is one of the group of words that equal 33 in standard reduction gematria and 666 in reverse times 6. The Bonnie situation is full of 33s. Mr. Wolf's first name is Winston, which equals 33. Jimmy tells the wolf about his Uncle Conrad and Aunt Ginny. Ginny equals 33. Mr. Wolf asks Jules about the condition of the bloody car. He says as far as he knows the mother effer is tip-top. Mr. Wolf says good enough. Tip-top equals 33, and good enough equals both 33 and 666. In Groundhog Day they went to the Tip-Top Cafe. Mr. Wolf calls Vincent Lashleroux and asks him if he can keep his spurs from jingling and jangling. This is a sequence of terms you don't hear every day. Leroux, spurs, and jingle all equal 33. Then he tells them to clean up the upholstery in the car. Upholstery equals 666. They mention Burbank and Redondo, both of which equal 33. Then they meet a friend of Mr. Wolf's played by Julia Sweeney. Sweeney equals 33, and she seems to be out of her acting league in this movie. They pick her up at Monster Joe's. Joe equals 33. During the latter part of this segment of the movie, Vincent wears a shirt which says UC Santa Cruz banana slugs on it. U and C are reduced to 3, so UC is 33. Santa Cruz, banana, and Vincent all equal 33. Plus, banana slugs together equals 666. The gematria on this odd shirt is enough by itself to indicate the presence of symbolism in Pulp Fiction. There are several Mexican references, one by Esmeralda and one by Tim Roth when he tells the Mexicans to get out of the kitchen. But there is also the scene in which Vincent, Jules, and Honey Bunny are pointing guns at each other. This type of scene is in multiple Tarantino movies. It is called a Mexican standoff. Mexican equals 33. After Mia overdoses, Vincent gives her a shot of adrenaline to the heart. They use another distinct perspective shot, shooting from the floor looking up. This frames them in between two columns. In some Masonic images, they show a sword piercing a heart in between two pillars. They write on the screen in a few shots. One is when Mia tells Vincent not to be a square. This is a possible reference to the Masonic square or the oblong square. The second time is right before Mr. Wolf pulls up in front of Jimmy's house. It says 9 minutes 37 seconds later. 37 is an important number. Its multiples include the triple rep digit numbers like 111, 666, 777, etc. 9 times 37 is 333. When Mr. Wolf inspects the car after its cleaning, he makes the hidden hand gesture. When Fabienne is first introduced, she talks about wanting to have a pot belly, and she mentions Madonna when she did Lucky Star. This is an important reference. Lucky Star is the first song on Madonna's first album. The name Madonna could be seen as a goddess reference, and her first song is about a star. It is significant that they mention it here in Pulp Fiction. The star Sirius is the occult driver of the cycle of precession. Fabienne also watches a motorcycle movie, and later Butch steals Zed's motorcycle. These might be symbolic vehicles again, and motorcycle has the word cycle in it. Plus, when Butch picks up Fabienne on the bike, he insists on telling her multiple times that it is not a motorcycle, it is a chopper. Chopper is a nickname for a helicopter, and helicopters are one of the most important symbolic vehicles, because helicopter equals 666. In the famous dancing scene, Mia and Vincent are on a dance floor that says RPM on it. RPM stands for revolutions per minute. It is a measure of rotational speed. This is likely another Wheel of History reference, and the occult cause of the precession of the equinox is the binary star system, or the revolving of our Sun and Sirius around each other. Dancing appears to be of significance. In Pretty in Pink, the movie ends at the prom. In Saturday Night Fever, they dance in a club called 2001 Odyssey. Marty's goal in Back to the Future is to get his parents to kiss at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, and this movie features a car time machine. Kathy Griffin has an odd cameo part in the movie after Butch hits Marcellus with his car. Pulp Fiction is a very unique, original movie. It is hardly the place for a D-list celebrity to make an appearance as herself. It is bizarre. The explanation may be that griffins are important. Wikipedia says the griffin is a legendary creature with the body, tail, and back legs of a lion, the head and wings of an eagle, and an eagle's talons as its front feet. In Greek and Roman texts, griffins were associated with gold. Indeed, in later accounts, griffins were said to lay eggs in burrows on the grounds, and these nests contained gold nuggets. The lion and the eagle are two of the four beasts, and the ages of Leo and Scorpio are on the upper half of the zodiac circle along with the Golden Age. This may be why griffins are associated with gold. And all of this may be why Kathy Griffin has a bizarre cameo in Pulp Fiction. She is part of the cycle of precession theme. If you have seen the first few videos, you should know that 9/11 was an important point in the cycle of precession, or of the zodiac circle. It was the symbolic dawn of the age of Aquarius. It is related to the Wheel of History, and this is why 9/11 predictions can be found in symbolic movies leading up to the event. Pulp Fiction features at least one 9/11 reference.
Get up, easy bones.
Oh. God. What time is it?
Almost 9 in the morning. What time does our train arrive?
11.
Fabienne says it is 9 in the morning, and Butch says the train arrives at 11. Relating this to 9/11 may seem like a stretch, but there is a very similar scene at the beginning of Die Hard, which also features Bruce Willis. Plus, Fabienne is asking about a train, which is likely another symbolic vehicle reference. Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy take a train on their way to the World Trade Center and trading places. King Kong destroys a train on his way to the World Trade Center in the 1976 movie. There he is attacked by helicopters. During the Bonnie situation, Vincent creates a bloody mess in a car by shooting Marvin in the head. Marcellus Wallace sends the wolf to help get rid of the bloody car and dead body. Sirius is the dog star, and a wolf can be substituted for the dog symbolically. Vincent and Jules are dressed the same. They might be called twins, and they are shown with blood all over them. Mr. Wolf cleans them off and gets rid of the car with all the evidence in it. After they destroy the car at Monster Joe's, Vincent and Jules thank Mr. Wolf. In this scene, two small dogs can be seen in the background. Sirius is the dog star, which is sometimes called the wolf star. On the left there is a Volkswagen Beetle, a car that has been used symbolically in multiple movies. The scarab beetle was an important symbol in ancient Egypt. Wikipedia says the scarab was seen as a symbol of this heavenly cycle and of the idea of rebirth or regeneration. The heavenly cycle they are talking about is the movement of the sun during the day, but we know that shorter cycles like the day have their longer counterparts in the year and the great year. Plus, the idea of rebirth is key, because humanity is reborn when the cycle of the zodiac reaches the golden age. This is the reason for resurrection symbolism in Christianity. So, Mr. Wolf could be seen as Sirius, the dog star, who cleans up the bloody twins and their bloody car. This may be a 9/11 reference. They may be predicting a bump in the road of the cycle which will be resolved by the dog star. 9/11 was the symbolic dawning of the age of Aquarius, an important point in the zodiac cycle, but those in power turned it into a bloody event. They may believe this violent action was necessary to justify their actions around the world, which have the ultimate goal of moving humanity towards a new world order. When Jules quotes Ezekiel, he says, "The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he, who in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness." The valley of darkness may refer to the darker ages of the cycle, which we are in right now. Those at the top of the world power structure may feel they are the righteous men who are guiding the weaker, ignorant masses of humanity through these darker ages. At the beginning of the movie, Jules and Vincent talk about Antoine Rockamora, or Tony Rocky Horror. Antoine equals 33, and the name Rocky Horror is suspicious. Rocky is likely a reference to the rock or stone of Freemasonry, which is perfected from the rough to perfect ashlar, or from the base metal or rock to alchemical gold. The movie Rocky is about a low-level boxer who rises to fight at the highest level, and he fights someone named after the sun god Apollo. In the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Dr. Frankenfurter creates a new man named Rocky. These are alchemical themes. It is difficult to prove, but the horror part of Rocky Horror could refer to 9/11. The story is about Antoine being thrown out of a window, and it seems significant because Vincent and Mia discuss it again while sitting at a card table and Jack Rabbit Slims. Rocky Horror might also refer to the Rockefeller Horror, or the horrible event that was to come at the buildings brought into being by the Rockefellers. These are educated guesses though at this point, but the Rocky element of this name is certainly included for a reason. As we mentioned earlier, Tim Roth is called Ringo at the end of the movie. The most famous person named Ringo is Ringo Starr from the Beatles. His name might refer to the ring or cycle of precession and the star that causes this cycle. The Beatles famously took an interest in Indian culture and Hinduism. On the cover of the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, on the top left, is Swami Yukteswar next to Aleister Crowley. Yukteswar wrote the Holy Science, in which he says the cycle of precession is the result of our sun being in a binary star system. He also described the different levels of human consciousness that go along with the stages of this cycle. Aleister Crowley's silver star is Sirius, and his disciple Kenneth Grant also mentioned the binary star system in his book The Magical Revival. This movie is loaded with symbolism, making it likely we are missing some of it. For example, there is the band-aid on the back of Marcellus's neck, and X signs seem to be of significance. Jules and Vincent are shown in front of several, and later Butch appears in front of one. They also appear prominently in the movie The Shining. We will return to some of these symbols if correspondences with other movies clarify their meaning. Let's return to the main points, which are 33, 666, the Book of Ezekiel, Tim Roth as the duck and Ringo, the wolf or dog, 9/11 foreshadowing, and Cars. Pulp Fiction's Symbolism is telling us the same story we have seen in other movies. It is about the cycle of precession, the Great Year, or the circle of zodiac ages, plus the rising of the Kundalini up the 33 vertebrae of the spine during the golden age of the cycle. There are prophetic books of the Bible, like Ezekiel, because predictions can be made based on past cycles. The name Ringo and the cyclical nature of the movie are consistent with this story. Plus, the duck is used symbolically again, and it is a likely reference to Isis, which is also Sirius, which is the occult driver of the cycle of precession.